Hi, it's Dave Mattson. Welcome to the How to Succeed podcast, a podcast designed to get you to the top and to stay at the top. I've asked some of our worldwide trainers who just excel in helping organizations and people scale to talk to their guests about what does it take to succeed. And we're going to focus in three areas which we call the success triangle: attitudes, behaviors, and techniques. So we're going to peel back the onion and really understand how people think, how they act, and how they behave to get to the top of their game to help you get there too. Let's listen in.
This episode, we're going to be talking with Daniel Rosen with Renovo Financial. And welcome, Daniel. We appreciate you being here today.
Karen, thank you for having me. Super excited to have a conversation with you and be here with you.
Okay, great. And so our guests know a little bit about you. Just give us, you don't have to give us the whole elevator pitch, but just tell us a couple things about Renovo and what you guys do, kind of where you are.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm Daniel Rosen. I'm in the Chicagoland area. I'm a father of three and happily married to my wife, and so family man. And outside of that, try to grow business every day. Our business, we're in the lending, private debt space for real estate investors across the country. So all of our clients are rehabbers and builders and landlords who every single day we have the pleasure of working with as they try to grow their business and, pour their heart and souls into the thing that's going to help, them succeed and them live out, their goals. And so we started our company in 2010, myself and our CEO, Kevin Werner, co-founded it. And so it's been an incredible 15-year journey as we have opened Renovo across the country in 30 plus cities and built an incredible team that now originates and services thousands of loans for real estate investors.
Okay, great. And one of the reasons, Daniel, we wanted to really highlight the work you have done at Renovo and the growth you guys have had is I know there's people listening that when I say that you've 10x'd your sales team and 40x'd your business, that they might be listening and thinking, I want to do that with my business. And over the last 6 years. And so I want to talk a little bit about, in Sandler, we talk about the success triangle, the behaviors, the attitudes, the techniques. And I know from working with you over the last 6 years how much you have really embraced some of the Sandler attitudes, behaviors, techniques. So when you think about what has really helped lead you to that growth, let's just start with attitudes, kind of mindsets. Maybe, what's something that comes to mind for you?
First of all, there's a lot that goes into that. There's thousands of attitudes and behaviors and techniques we've learned over the years. But Karen, it's funny when I think back. I think we started working together in 2018 or 19?
It was the end of 2018.
Okay. And I remember calling you. I remember where I was. I was still had a book of business. I was still selling. I remember calling you. I remember the project I was pulling up to actually for a client, a construction project they were doing.
Hmm.
And you answered and I said, Karen, this is going to be the easiest sell you've ever had. I know we need sales training. We've done some training before. We're ready to go. And I think you kind of gave me you taught me right away our first, maybe this is a technique, not an attitude, but it was really slow down to speed up.
Let's see what
And
makes sense.
and looking back, you did your training. They trained you well at Sandler. You did the perfect, just left the pendulum. I like to say just left because
Yeah.
if we go way too far left, it kind of weirds out the client. I was ready to be sold, but you said, it sounds like we could do a lot of good things together before we just jump in and get going.
Yeah.
Could we possibly get together so I can understand what success looks like?
Sure.
And I was like, great, let's get together. So amazing job teaching me lesson number one there. That was, I remember it like it was yesterday. It's wild.
I remember where I was when I got that call, and frankly, I'd love to get a lot more calls like that.
Yeah. But maybe look, the attitude there was adult to adult.
Mhm.
You didn't act like a sale or traditional salesperson on that call. You matched me adult to adult right there. Um, and in some ways it wasn't like a desperate, oh great, I have a someone who wants to buy, let's go. You really slowed down, and it was a mutual discovery, mutual, could we have a relationship?
Yeah.
And we've always been relationship driven at Renovo, and we're in the lending business, which is, inherently one of the most commoditized businesses, you could have. I'm sure everyone talks about how they don't want to be a commodity, but we make loans, there's interest rates, everyone can see what everyone's rates are. And we've worked really hard at how do we go into a business situation as business people, as adult to adult, you know trying to build a relationship with a business on the other end, where we can have this relationship that can last a very long time, and we can do a lot of work together and help each other grow. And if I succeed, you succeed, right? So
Well,
we
when I
did that on the first call, and it hasn't changed since.
Well, and I think about, one of the mindsets that you work with your new lenders on is exactly what you just said. The mindset that it's not about the deal, it's about the relationship. And often when they're new, um, it's about the deal in their mind, right? And then maybe they've come from another lending company where, how fast can you get the deal in? And having the lowest rate and giving them the answers right away. And so really, you've done a really good job of building a culture where it's okay to lose a deal, especially if it's not the right deal for Renovo, especially for a first exposure, and really working on building the relationship.
Yeah, well said. For us, that is our culture and that is our DNA. I think that is who we are. It doesn't There are different plays, right? And there's other companies in our space that might even do more volume than us sometimes, that run it the other way. So I don't know if it's about being right per se. There are more ways than one to do things, but for us, that's been a really big focal point to drive home that is our culture, and that's what we want our client experience to be. And so there has to be buy-in from day one that that's just how we do it.
So one of the things that I know that you work with your team on is trying not to give proposals out before they actually sit and meet with people and really learn about them. And so tell us a little bit about how you think that discovery process you go through with your borrowers
Mhm.
has separated you from your competition.
Um, can I side? Don't forget that question, but can I
Okay.
sidebar for 1 second to
Yeah,
kind of how we got there?
sure.
Um, because I want to make everyone feel okay. Good. I don't know if
Okay.
that's a singular rule, but it's definitely something you taught me. Make everyone feel okay.
Yeah, it is a Sandler
We,
rule.
when we started working together, we had 4 loan officers. Now we have 40. So we 10x our team. The good news is, I think with training and mindset and behaviors and techniques and all the stuff we work on and the role playing, it wasn't one for one, meaning everybody has lifted their game. And I think here, by being a part of our team, has done 10x what they thought they could do or do elsewhere, right? So that's why 40 people are doing maybe 100 times or 40 times the volume, right?
Yeah,
Not so 10x the people, but more than 10x the volume. But
right.
when we in our first meeting, you had asked me what we track, and I said, well, we track LOIs, which are basically a signing up a deal, and our closings, and maybe an application. And you had, what we discovered there in our meeting was, okay, we only track lagging indicators.
Lagging indicators, right?
So the first thing we worked on was a cookbook, and you really helped me unpack, well, okay, what leads to these things? What do you have to do in order to get to a closing? And I think what we discovered together was I need to meet with a potential client. To your point, there's two ways you could do this. I could take in a call, ask what deal they're working on, and quote something.
Yeah. Do an
Or
application over the phone, give them a number, and
yeah,
hope for
which
the
would be
best.
easy. Honestly, we kind of tell people that's the easy part.
Yeah.
The hard part is really, are we the right fit to even do any deal together? And we learned that if we could, we are a local business. So even though we operate in over 30 markets, we have decided our DNA, our culture is to be local. We think in the real estate business, we decided being local matters. So if we're local, we better go meet with our potential clients. And in that meeting, we could really sidestep the specific deal and unpack and learn what is their business, where do they want to be in their business, what challenges do they face, tell us about their journey, where do they ultimately want to end up, and then we can decide, are we a fit overall, right? Because a lot of our clients have multiple deals every single year, and we might not be the right fit for every single one of those, but we do passionately believe we're likely a good decision to have as a lending partner for some amount of their business throughout the year or years, right? And the only way we can kind of understand that is if we really get to know them. Um, and then there's so many other reasons to build a relationship outside of that, that I think has really helped our business grow. I think that's where it all started.
And I know when you look at results, when people do kind of shortcut things, uh, typically it's they're not as successful as when they actually, I know one of your mantras there is slow down to speed up.
Yep.
So so
Yeah.
tell us about tell you were kind of describing it, but what does slow down to speed up mean to you and kind of as a mantra for your sales team?
Um, some of the best relationships you have are built over years. Um, and well, if you if you don't take the time to understand someone's overall picture, I think you might be looking at one little tiny part of their business and you think you have a deal. And really, when you get together, you might realize, whoa, there's like millions of dollars of things that you're working on and lots of other people that and lots of things we can help you out with. And ultimately, we know the cool thing is we can tell any client, we know we're going to be competitive. We will be likely a very similar rate to anything you're going to see. So we need to understand how you run your business and what's important to you. So we know if the things outside of your rate our process, our delivery, how we run our loan servicing and construction draws, will these things impact you? And then if you can get all that in a very similar rate, then your choice, it's a different choice. And
Yeah.
I think on the front end, we want to understand, how is our buyer making their choice? Because some will say it is either the lowest rate or nothing,
Yeah.
even though I still don't believe them. But then that's okay too. We probably just, I don't know, maybe we want to try to win that business, but we better know that if we lose, we better know it's because we skipped a bunch of steps
Yeah. So
in our
so
process.
your team, to your point, them taking the time to
Mhm.
really understand someone's business. Again, it's not just about whatever the one deal is that maybe they called to talk about that day or they happen to be running numbers on. It's really understanding their business. What are they looking for in a capital partner? I mean, ideally, you are in business with business owners who are, as investors, who are looking to grow
Yep.
and, I don't know that I've heard you say this, but there's a lot of different places people can get money. But, if they can partner with someone who actually is a true partner in their business, that's a totally different relationship than they might currently be getting from whoever they're borrowing from.
Yeah. And look, you have been working with Renovo. You've done a great job. So we continue to work together. So once you ran a great upfront process to see that we would be a good fit, that you could help us, then clearly you had to deliver.
Right.
And 6 years later, you still have a client, and I'm guessing maybe a few referrals from our team.
Right.
Um, and if we're gonna speed up, instead of winning a deal, we need to win a client,
Yeah.
because a good sales process is going to give us a repeat client, and it should give us referrals. And even though in our cookbooks we still prospect and we still want to have accountability around those numbers, I don't know about anyone else listening to this call, but I don't love having a cold call over and over and over. So if I could build a repeat client referral based business, I'm going to go for that all day, every day. And I think it's our team and our culture is better when we have those kind of relationships with our clients. So it's harder, I think, in the beginning, but if you make that investment over time, I think then you have a business and a book of business that you can really be proud of.
Sales professionals, you don't need more theory. You need transformation that drives performance. At Sandler, we go beyond the book. Our psychology-based selling system, backed by behavioral science and 50-plus years of proven success, gives your team data-driven tools and a reinforcement strategy that ensures lasting change. See it firsthand. Crash a class today. Visit sandler.com/podcast. That's sandler.com/podcast. Sandler. Built for sales professionals who demand results.
Yeah, and I know you have people on your team that maybe when we first started working together, I think, where people are doing a respectable number as far as how many loans they were processing, maybe somewhere in the 25-30 million a year type of range. And but I know some of those same people are doing 100 million, 200 million, even 300 million with their teams. But exactly to your point, the it's not because they're going out and getting that many new clients every week.
So every year, I would say my proudest moment is when I get to call one of our, I'll call them loan officers for this call,
Mhm.
but market leaders, to say, hey, remind me what your best year was before you joined Renovo. And in their second year in August or September, when I already know before I ask the question that they're going to tell me a number, and I know they're about to pass it less than 3/4 of the way through the year. And it
Right.
happens every year in 2 years, which means in year 3 and year 4 and year 5, they're really growing beyond where they were.
Yeah.
And look, Sandler plays a big part of that.
Yeah. So the other place I thought we should go with this conversation that I think has been a real differentiator for you has been your hiring process and your onboarding process.
Mhm.
And I think a lot that really started even during COVID when you spread your business across the country and you started onboarding, multiple people,
Right.
some of which, it was maybe a little easier when everyone was sitting next to you in Chicago, but all of a sudden you have these people across the country, and you've had very low churn on new hires. So it's really been amazing. So what's a couple tips you might have for somebody who's really looking to hire A players and keep them?
Um, have a process is one for sure. Know what you're looking. It's similar to prospecting. I think you have to identify what is the for us. We work very hard to identify what's the right client profile we want, and I think we have to have the same thing when we're looking for salespeople, producers. We really, for us, our loan officers are our leaders across the country. They are running the business. It's their office. It's their show, and we're trying to support through technology, products, capital, back office, whatever we have to do to help them and grow their business. But the way we do it is really hard. So you have to know like who's the kind of person that is willing to go through that hard to get there. It's not, as we talked about, we really try to slow down to speed up to build the right business. We're in the capital business, so performance on our loans really matters too. It's not just sell something and you're out.
Mm,
So identification of really the profile and type of person. We've worked together on assessments, and I still come to you and say, "Hey, can you look at this one?" I'll even
mhm,
have you interview people sometimes to say, I think I like this person, but their assessment isn't quite a match. Can we work through, because I'm not an expert at all these areas, and you've been amazing at helping me interview people and maybe ask some questions to figure out, can we either coach around it? Did the assessment, maybe, is it off for any reason?
right,
So we've worked really hard at that. You taught me, or Sandler taught me together, you and Sandler, not to blue sky our job. So we really go in not trying to oversell. You come to Renovo, you're going to make more money here, you're going to produce more here. The truth is, you won't unless you are the right person,
right.
and you won't unless you don't understand that your first year is probably going to be harder than any of your best years you've ever had.
Yeah,
Like, this is going to be very, very, very hard. And it takes a lot of work when you come on board, because people go through our onboarding at this point and they go, man, can I get to selling? Because you're like still training me and onboarding me, and you have the most robust onboarding I've ever gone through. And while they compliment it, they start to see, holy, I've never trained before on sales.
mhm,
I was there. The reason I got into sales training, I think, is because Kevin's like, "Oh man, Daniel needs help selling. We better get him some training." But I was losing deals and I didn't understand why. So I was like, "Okay, I got to go figure that out."
yeah,
So it's the first time people are training, first time they're role playing. It's kind of awkward when you're all adults in the room and you're like, "Hey, we're gonna role play now."
right,
It's like, so you got to get over that and check your ego at the door. Um, we're running cookbooks that you've taught us. So we're tracking numbers. We're having weekly accountability meetings. And
mhm.
a lot of people we bring on, they're not coming from a place that did that. So I'll use you tell me, is upfront contract a technique?
I would call it a technique.
Okay. So
Yeah, for
we
sure.
are upfront contracting the fill in the blank, whatever word I'll try not to swear,
How about
right?
that?
Mhm. The crap out
I
of
said heck.
the heck, the heck out of people in terms of, this is going to suck. This is
Yeah,
going to be hard. You are going to train. You are going to role play. We're going to have weekly accountability meetings. By the way, once you are up and running and producing more than you were before, you can decide at what level you kind of want that accountability. But
right.
until then, we're doing it.
Yeah,
If that doesn't work, do not join. And I think, similar to just sending someone an offer for doing a loan, we take that really seriously, because if it's not the right fit, they won't do all that. And we have not found another way to make it work.
yeah, so by not when you say don't blue sky the job, I think, I know I've worked with companies where they fall into that. They kind of paint a perfect scenario. So maybe they would share numbers of their highest rep who's been there for years and make the person feel like they could do that their first year. And really you're doing the opposite of that. You're being very transparent with what
I
they could
think,
expect the first year and what it takes, and that they're gonna start like even if they've had a high level of success, they're gonna start like everybody else. Accountability to numbers, doing role playing, going to training, weekly accountability, and, if like you said, if they're
well,
not up for that, don't
and
take the job.
I can confidently say, plus or minus, we probably have at least as many, if not more, top producers in our industry than any other competitor,
Mhm.
right? But I try not to blue sky. It would be easy to say, if you come here, you could be one of it's because of us. I got to be honest. We try really hard to do whatever we can to support and get in the trenches and help our people succeed. But if
Yeah.
you work with our team, they
Hmm.
are talented, and I think it's their hard work and their grit and their ability to buy into that and put their ego away and go, I'm gonna do it. You said we're supposed to run this play. I'm gonna go run that play. Even though I've never run that play before, I'm not even so sure it's gonna work. So it's because of them that we've gotten there.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to find those people, and if you don't have a process to identify, do we think they have the characteristics of what's worked, and then have we had the right conversations up front to make sure they don't come into a place where like, whoa, you didn't tell me any of this coming in. That
Right.
would not be fair either.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So we probably scare a bunch of people away, but it's okay.
Um, so kind of to summarize, when I think about what you've shared about how you basically added close to 40 people to your sales team, that are all many who are at quota or above, some who are still onboarding. You've had very high retention, very low churn of new reps, because it's a drag to hire people that don't work out, right? And so you've done a great job with that, and then onboarding them well, accountability management, and then really running the play as you said it. There and I've heard you say this before. There are different selling systems and different sales processes out there, but Renovo has chosen Sandler. I mean, you know what? I should let you say it because you say it
We,
well.
we have chosen Stanley. No, it's true. If you look at any championship team, I think they run a playbook, and there's multiple offenses and defenses, and there's multiple championship teams that have different playbooks. But I think the key is that whatever season they won, they all ran the same playbook. They weren't like running different ones. So I think here what's important is that if we want to create a certain client experience and we want our team to be able to communicate and win, then we kind of all have to run off the same playbook. If
Right.
within some variation, I'm sure even the Sandler offices have small tweaks to best practices,
Hmm.
but overall, I'm imagining Sandler offices are running fairly similar playbook
Yeah.
to success, and that's really important to us. So yeah, we've commercial for Karen here. We've decided that that's Sandler, but day one you were very clear. If we didn't train and study and role play and work at it, here we are 7 years later, or 6 years later, still working at it,
Right.
trying to get better. It doesn't work, just like any other playbook out there.
Yeah. All right. So what I'm hearing is consistency in your hiring process and consistency in your onboarding and the way you manage your people, and then consistency in the play you're having your team run on the field. Consistency in
Yeah.
sales
And
process and the way you retain clients.
yeah, and I just add that we have very high retention, low turnover, and successful teammates. And what I mean by that is, and knock on wood, I don't know if anyone that's great wants to leave, right? Maybe, and we makes me really humbled when I hear people say like, I'm either retiring here or I'm out of the business. And I'm like, this is it, right?
Right.
But we've also had to get good at onboarding and having onboarding and ramp up numbers and certificates and one of those part of onboarding is they got to pass their final exam with you,
Right.
right? And not everyone makes it through the onboarding ramp up period, and so we've tried to condense that. We're not going to get it right every time, but we also have to make sure we get those people off. Unfortunately, it's not fun, but
Right.
that could be very detrimental if we let that fester and linger too long.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's pretend we're sitting here doing another podcast in 5 years, Daniel. Uh, where's Renovo headed? What can we expect
You
to
know,
see from you in the
I'm
future?
looking at the clock here, and it's 30 minutes. We got to go Joe Rogan style and do this like 3.5 hours. We haven't even started.
So where's Renovo headed? Whoa.
Um, where are we headed? We're headed to be number one.
Number one in your market. Where
Yeah,
what were you when you started this journey?
I don't even know. When we started working together, we were barely outside of Chicago. But
Yeah.
today, I think by the numbers, when we started working together, we were doing a few 100 million, and now we'll do close to $4 billion of production this year. And where we're headed is $10 billion by the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most important is that we have amazing offices around the country, led by amazing leaders, with every team member feeling like they can grow and they're in a position to win.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think we want to be a top company, top places to work for kind of place, which we've won 3 years in a row in Chicago.
It's amazing.
So, that's the rewarding piece, is when you see young talent rise up and other people who have been here for a while become leaders and help others, come along and get to have amazing careers. And at the end of the day, we all want to take care of our families, and which is the most important thing. So
Yeah.
if we could do that for a lot of people, I think we're winning, even if we're not necessarily number one.
All right. Well, we want to thank you, Daniel, for first of all, for being a client of Sandler. It's
sure.
been a privilege to be a part of your journey, and appreciate you sharing some thoughts today. And to everyone listening, we will see you next time on the How to Succeed podcast.
The How to Succeed podcast is copyrighted by Sandler Systems, LLC, and protected by U.S. copyright laws. For more information on Sandler services, please consult with your local Sandler trainer or visit www.sandler.com.